In this presentation, we're going to take a look at bank rules related to splitting an item into two accounts. For example, we might have something like an auto expense where we have part of it's going to be personal and part of it's business, and we might want to take that one kind of line item that we have and split it up between two accounts and set up a rule in order to do so. Let's get into it with Intuit's QuickBooks Online. Here we are in our Get Great Guitars file. We're going to go down below and we're going to be adding or opening our reports. We're going to be opening up both reports this time, that being the balance sheet report and the income statement report, starting with the balance sheet report, going from January up to, well, let's not go from January. Let's go from 05/01/20 up to 06/30/20, then run that report. Then I'm going to be right-clicking on the tab up top, duplicating the tab up top, going back to the tab to the left, going down to the reports on the bottom, opening up the second report, that being the P&L, the profit and loss, the income statement, same date range up top, that being 05/01/20 and 06/30/20. Let's run that report. Let's duplicate that report by right-clicking on the tab up top and duplicating it back to the tab to the left. And then we're going to go down to the bank feeds. We have our bank feed information. We're going to be closing up the old hamburger. And then here's our scenario. We're going to go down and look for, actually I'm in the rules. I'm going to go off the rules to the banking tab. And then I'm going to scroll down. Our scenario is we're going to be looking for all those things that are auto-related expenses. And we're going to say, hey, we have this breakout that we've decided on that to be breaking out between our personal auto and the business auto type of expenses. And we got our split that we have between the business and personal. We're going to say it's a 60-40 business to personal split. So every time I see something that's auto-related, I'd like to split it out. For example, this Shell gas down here. So I'd like to take all the Shell gas items and be splitting out in a 60-40 split, 60 going to the business, which will just be like auto expense or something like that. The other being personal. Now it came out of our business checking account here. Therefore, if I spent something on the personal usage, I would typically put it into the equity section, kind of like a draw, because you'll imagine that it would be like a draw that we took out of the business. You can imagine me taking cash out, which would decrease the draws on the business. Then we'd pay cash out of it out of our personal account. So if we just skip that middle step, we would just take that portion that is for personal and put it directly into the draws. So that's what we're gonna do here. I want to set that rule. To go to the rules, I'm gonna right-click on this tab up top again and duplicate it so we can go back and forth between the data and the rules field. Then I'm gonna scroll back up top and go to the rules field. So I'd like to go to the rules here, please. And then we're gonna set up a new rule. So I'm gonna say new rule. There's a new rule here, and it's gonna be, I'm gonna call it for the Shell gas rule. So here it is. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. It's going to be for money going out. It's going to be a text. We have the text type rule, which is going to contain the words Shell gas in it. Shell gas should be in there somewhere. And then and that's the only rule we're going to have up here. We're not going to add the split option in the rules. The split option will be down here. So it's down below in the split option. So then we're going to have the expense. It's going to be an expense type item. The payee is going to be, I'm going to say Shell and it's gas. Let's say tab. I'm going to add this vendor. And we're going to say, yes, please add the vendor. The category is going to be something like auto expense. But we need a split, actually, before I put the category in there, before I put the actual account. Let's go to split down here. And now I have the two categories section. And I'm going to say it's going to be a 60-40 split, 60-40. The 60 going to the business side, which I'm going to then find the auto expense, which they have a car and truck expense. So I'll pick that one. Key point is it's an expense account here rather than it's an expense account. Okay. Then the other side is going to be personal, which I'm going to say is basically drawn out of the organization. So it shouldn't be an expense account. It should be like an equity type of account. So I'm looking for like an equity type of account, similar to a draw, similar to the owner taking money out of the business. If it was just cash coming out, same kind of concept. So it's going to be some type of equity. Here's all the equity stuff. So I want to be picking up then, this one's going to the owner pay and personal expenses. That's basically what it is. Now QuickBooks named it all nicely for us here, saying, yeah, it's a personal expense. That's where it's going. Key point, however, is it's an equity account. Typically, it would be called draws or withdrawals or something like that. All right, so there it is. And again, I'm not going to have this happen automatically. You could after you review this a few times, meaning do you want it directly going into your books or do you want it to turn green so you can at least kind of like take a look at it? I like to take a look at it, but maybe if I save it a few times, I'm comfortable enough to just let it go and not take a look at it. But we're going to have it there. We're going to say save. There's our rule. I'm going to go back to the first tab, then refresh the screen and see how that rule is then applied. Closing up the old hamburger and scrolling down to our rules, we're looking for those auto. There they are. So here they are. Found it. So they got the shell gas, and notice here it's going into the split. So it's going to split item. So add, and it's going to the rule applied. Here's the rule. So if you want to know what the split is, you basically have to check the rule. They're not giving us the 2 line items when you check the split here. But we already know what it's going to. It's going to the equity account and it's going to the expense account. So let's go ahead and add this. So again, I can highlight this one or check it off, hold down shift and select the last one, checking those 3 off, then adding them. And then let's take a look at our P&L. Let's go to the P&L, refresh the P&L, the profit and loss, the income statement. Close up the old hamburger, hold down control, scroll up just a bit, and we're at the 125. We see then the car and truck expense. If we go into that car and truck expense, then we see the shell gas. There's the 42 for the shell gas. If I go back up top and back to our data, then I'm going to go to the balance sheet and I'm going to refresh the balance sheet. And for some reason I didn't get all of them here because I just hit the add button, I think. So I'm going to go back to the first tab and I still got these checked off and I need to go to the batch action and then accept them. So let's check that out. And then I'll go back to the P&L and this one should update as I check on it. It should refresh as we go into it. And now we have the 3 items there. If I go back up top then and go back to our report, now it's at the 189. Okay, let's go to the balance sheet then. If we scroll down to the balance sheet, we go all the way down to the equity section. We have the owner pay and expenses, so we go to the owner pay and expenses, and there's the 3 shell gas items there that are coming out on that section. So note, this is money that's going out that got paid out from the business for the owner, and therefore it's decreasing, as you can see here, at the negative number in the equity section.